Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 183 of the J Situation Podcast. I'm recording this on October 17th, 2023. How are all you wonderful folks doing? Yeah, I'm doing well. I hope you're all enjoying this gorgeous weather. It is amazing, at least where we are. It's not often we get stuff like this, so I'm pretty stoked. It's going to get hot again soon, though, I think. I was doing some ranch work on Saturday, and it was so nice. Let me ask you a question, though. You ever had feeder batteries that they run for like 2 years solid, and then you forget to change them out, and then one goes bad, and then you don't realize the motor isn't running, and you're like, oh, it happened to me. I was like, oh my God. And I'm usually so careful. I got so complacent because I have a really awesome feeder system. I have all these really cool feeders. They're all self-contained. And you know the whole apparatus is out of the weather, so I haven't even been using a voltmeter to check the dang batteries, and because it was every time we put feed in them, they're big feeders that a lot of these feeders they're holding at least 1,000 pounds, and run a test fine, and I guess just constant use over 2 years with the heat of the day and cold cycles and everything. I guess one of the batteries just doesn't have enough charge anymore, and so I'm going to replace it and see if I can bring it back with my battery charger. It's an AGM battery, and the other ones have the same age and they're still going. So I made the command decision. I was like, we're replacing all of these batteries just at once. I ordered a bunch of more of them because it could be heat, it could be a bad cell. I don't know. Anyway, that's deer feeder stuff. I don't know if you guys ever fight those battles, but since it's whitetail season, I figured there's at least some people. I know not everyone in the country can use feeders. We do in Texas, so it is what it is. Been having a lot of good luck with the self-contained systems over the past couple of years, meaning like everything, all the electronics and everything are inside, which is really great. We should do a podcast on those and game camera systems too. Some folks on social media agreed that would be cool to talk about game cameras too. I've used so many dang systems, and I've been using one that for the past 2 years that we really like, and so I would love to talk about that with you guys. I know a lot of you had asked, so anyway, it'd be cool to do a hunting equipment episode, right? Anyway, but for now, we're going to be deep into silencers, and in fact, today's episode kicks off a sequence of data releases that is coming hard and fast, and we aren't going to step off the gas for a little while. We have projects to complete, we have things to test, and we have research to publish, and it's both internally and externally funded work, and it's getting wild. And so we're gonna start off today. We're going to talk about 2 client programs. The first up, we're going to have the technical discussion for the 22 silencer we discussed last week. That's the Resilient Suppressors Jessie's girl. And then we're also going to talk about a new MK18 data set. That's right. Concurrently with this podcast, we have the Liberty Precision Machine Torch with a solid invented end caps. And that is coming to you right now this second. That's literally being published as you're listening to this, if you're listening to this and you're not a time traveler. And so we'll give the intro to that on today's episode. And finally, I'll give a little bit of a note about patience, because Lord knows I think we all need it. so why not just get into that as well, okay? So we'll get on with the show right now, because the J Situation Podcast is probably sponsored by Legion Athletics. That's right, because nothing you do, exercise, sports, really anything, is worth doing without consistency, okay? You have to do it all the time if you want to be good at it, and Legion Athletics can help, okay? They have whey protein and pre-workout and post-workout, and some folks ask me, do they have everything I need? I say, maybe not, but they have a lot. So visit legionathletics.com. There's a link in the show notes, code word PewScience, to save 20% off of your first order. And if you keep using that code for double loyalty points, you'll end up getting a net 10% off everything going forward with points using that code. Get strong. It's important. And actually, someone reached out to me and they told me that they tried to use the code a subsequent time with another something or other, and it wasn't stacking, but it could before, and they had a problem, but then Legion fixed it for them. I haven't had time to dig into that. That's really something you guys need to contact Legion for. That's just not something I'm not them. All I know is the Pew Science code should be valid, and if it's not working, let them know, please. Okay. Secondly, this podcast is proudly sponsored by Top Gun Range Houston, and these guys are, they're in the thick of it, man. These guys are working hard. If you're in the Houston area, even if you're just visiting, they're worth checking out. In addition to having a 15-lane indoor shooting range, they have the largest firearm rental fleet in the entire state of Texas, where you can rent pistols and rifles and shotguns and machine guns, and you can check out their entire inventory at topgunrange.com. You can also find them on Instagram at topgunrange. Go check them out. Okay, they like interacting with you guys. They're solid folks. They're all the folks that work there love shooting silencers too. They're cool. They're cool people. Like I if I lived closer, I'd probably be there more. Honestly, This episode is also brought to you by High End Armament Technology, a dealer of exactly that. High-end arms and accessories. They have significant longevity in the machine gun and NFA game, as well as significant expertise in both the procurement and the operation of night vision, thermal optics, infrared sighting systems, lasers. Check them out at highendarms.com, on Instagram at highendarms, and they even have a Facebook page, which is also High End Arms. They do. I hope they can help you folks out if you need something very expensive. Tell them Jay sent you. This episode is also proudly sponsored by Silencer Shop, the largest distributor of silencers in the world. You can use their kiosk to do your fingerprints and photos electronically. And in turn, you cut down on errors, you simplify your silencer purchasing process, you get a money-back guarantee if you buy something you don't really want. They can help you out with that. No transfer fees, no paperwork errors, just you and your silencer with no drama. It truly is silencer ownership simplified. They have gone to great lengths to normalize the use of suppressed small arms, good or bad. Whatever you think about the way they're doing it, they have certainly increased the numbers exponentially. And finally, this podcast is brought to you by the Pew Science today. Here at Pew Science, we pride ourselves on our oration and verbal prowess. No, but the podcast is brought to you by the Pew Science Laboratory. I'm the technical director of the lab. Sometimes I talk, sometimes I can't. In the interest of public education, the lab sponsors this podcast and runs a public research effort, which continues to push the silencer industry forward one test at a time, and you'll continue to see that in the near future. Visit pewscience.com for the suppression rating. It is the simplest and the most accurate hearing safe rating for your suppressed small arms. It is based on true human inner ear response of the entire gunshot from before combustion takes place all the way until all of the combustion is gone, tested in the free field in accordance with the MIL standard, which is the inspiration for the silencer sound standard, the most strict interpretation available. It is the home, literally. I mean, this whole entire effort, when you really boil it all down, guys, we're the home of the silencer sound standard, okay? We have 7 sections. It's the most in-depth and accurate silencer data and analysis in the world. It's available 24/7, 365 to the public. That's right. Check it out at pewscience.com. And you can support this podcast that we do every week. You can support the Pew Science Lab. You can support all the public testing that's done and presented that everyone can see by joining with a membership at pewscience.com. And if you join, you even get more data. It's really cool. And you know what? If you're not into that and you just want to give like a one-time thing or something, you can donate. There's a donation feature on the website. On the review page and podcast pages, there's a donate button. Every little bit helps. And if that's just too rich for your blood, and you're like, you know what? Times are tight, and the impending collapse is imminent. That's fine. Something that's free and doesn't cost you anything. You give this podcast a good rating on Spotify or iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. Wherever podcasts are sold. No, they're not sold. They're free. But yeah, you can let folks know that silencers and guns are awesome if you get this a good rating and help us out, spread the word. That's really what would do us a solid. Okay, it would help us a lot. Thank you so much. And thank you for listening. Got 3 topics for you today. Topic 1, Sound Signature Review 6-125. That's right. The Resilient Suppressors Jessie's Girl on 22-bolt action. This is the technical discussion of the Pew Science Laboratory white paper released last week. Booyah. Yeah, I went hard in the paint last week. I was like, I went a little ham, a little dramatic last week. Let's try to get less dramatic this week. No, just kidding. I won't try, but we might. Topic 2, sound signature review 6126. That's today. That's right. With this podcast, the Liberty Precision Machine Torch on the 556 Mark 18. That's right. This is a dedicated 556 silencer. Well, it's really a 6mm silencer, but regardless, we tested it with both the solid and vented end caps. Oh my goodness. And the paper's live right now. We're going to go into an introduction to this silencer and the article, and we'll hit the technical discussion next week, okay? It's kind of how we do things when we release a white paper in conjunction with a podcast. We will do a technical discussion next week. Okay. And then topic 3, patience is the theme here. It is important, and it's important for you. It's important for us. If you are a veteran of the NFA game, patience may still not come naturally to you, but it is probably learned throughout the process nonetheless, I think so. The Pew Science Laboratory is very anxious to publish many things. Many Pew Science member-funded research articles, and as we progress through the remainder of this year, just keep your eye on the prize. It'll be worth it. You folks have really come through, and great testing has happened, so just know that we know that you know that we know that everything's going to be okay. Topic 1 at a time of 11 minutes. And 39 seconds. Okay, good deal. Man, this week is wild already. Was it Tuesday? Yeah. It's crazy. Topic 1, sound signature review 6125. The Resilient Suppressors Jessie's Girl on 22 bolt action. Technical discussion. We went over this last week. Let's do a little bit of a deep dive, as they say in the biz. No, do they say that? I don't know. They might not. What a ride it's been. If you're new to Pew Science and new to this podcast, welcome. Even if you are not new, but maybe you don't have the background on how this all started, go back to the beginning times, and go back to when we started with 22. I gave a rundown about that last episode, so hit that first. If you want to know the history of all of this, it will answer your questions as to why 22, why not 22, why so early, why so late, why the host weapon. Our pets' heads are falling off. On today's episode, I'm going to dive straight into the article, really. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up. If you've never followed along before, now is your chance. You can pull up pewscience.com, and you can find the latest article. If you want to follow along with the free article, that's just fine. I have the member article up just because that's how I roll. And if you follow along with me, you're not going to miss anything. I'm not going to alienate you. Okay? No man left behind. It's something we like to abide by. Okay, so this is review 6125. The Resilient Suppressors Jessie's Girl on the bolt action 22 rifle. This is a dedicated rimfire silencer that can also shoot 5.7 millimeter. 5.7 millimeter. Yeah, I don't think Arnold even knew about that cartridge when he made that movie. But if you're one of those people who likes to shoot 5.7, you can apparently do mag dumps with that, if you're into that sort of thing, with this silencer. So congratulations. Now, just a warning. This is just in general here. Doing machine gun work with a small 22 silencer without a super high flow rate with 5.7 is not going to be the most fun thing you've ever done. And this review really is not about that, but I did want to state up front, this silencer can handle more than 22 rim fire, which actually is important to some of you because you got to think about it. For others of you, for practical people that may want to shoot other things through it, call the manufacturer Resilient. Okay, maybe someone just wants to shoot 22 Hornet or something through it. Maybe something for some varmints out of a bolt gun. Maybe people shooting coyotes with it. Who knows, dude? I don't know. Just call Resilient to get clearance. I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't shoot out of this thing. And Pew Science takes no responsibility for you blowing up your silencer. So I just want to give that disclaimer to you up front and just be careful, because I know what people try to do. Don't put this on 556. You're going to have a bad time. Okay, so just to kick off this thing correctly here, this is a contracted test program. It is part of a testing and analysis program for resilient suppressors. As with all externally funded testing and analysis work, there is a statement at the top of the article indicating that. For all of you folks who are interested in that information, that's there. Just administrative statement for you. We do sincerely thank Resilient for trusting us to perform this project. They have been a client for a while now, and it is great to see a small company, start up and not only get showcased publicly on a relatively large scale, no less, but perform well when doing so, really. But perform well. It's just really great to see. I think a lot of folks root for the underdogs in various industries and sports and stuff like that. So I think Pew Science is happy to provide that level playing field where things like this can happen. I know that most of the people in the industry and the consumers are extremely happy that we have this level playing field where companies like this can be showcased. I can't think of a negative to it. I think it's really positive. I mean, and the feedback has been so positive from pretty much everybody. There are some folks that don't like it, but I think they're outnumbered by a significant margin. So I think we're going to keep doing it. I think we're going to keep providing a level playing field for everybody. Okay? I think that's important. So digging into the review, bottom line up front, 92.2 composite suppression rating on the 16-inch barrel 22-bolt action, 90.6 at the muzzle, 85.7 at the ear. With CCI standard velocity 40-grain ammunition, which it's our go-to ammo for 22, and I know it's a go-to ammo for a lot of you as well, and it stays subsonic at a 16-inch barrel, and that makes it just fine for what we are doing here. So the quietest stuff you will shoot as a silencer lover, is really I should say the quietest platform you'll shoot as a silencer lover usually is going to be a suppressed 22-bolt action. This is what we call ninja quiet. Anything in the 90 zone is simply grand, really. Hell, man, the 80 zone is great too. Who are we kidding? But the 90 zone, brother, let me tell you, brother, bro ham. And so the magic happens, my friends. The ninja magic, the space magic, where it doesn't even seem like a gun. Frankly, it doesn't even seem like a gun, dude. And to be clear, I wrote that in multiple places in this article, much more formal than what I just said, brother. But do not treat these systems as toys. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, yes, it is a 22, but it is still a weapon. It is still lethal. It is still meant to kill. Guns are meant to kill. Guns are not toys. They are for killing things. Treat them with the respect they deserve. Okay? Okay, now that we've got that, I want to be your dad, but just say that now. Okay, let's go through the data. We'll hit the high points. We're going to talk a little bit about the silencer here. Okay. Yeah, well, okay, no, before I go on, I give that safety statement. Like, obviously, there's no attorneys telling me to say that. The reason I'm telling you that is because this effort was started to protect the consumer, right? And some people might think, oh my God, this is so quiet with a silencer. It's suppression rating in the 90s. I can shoot this all day, every day. It's so hearing safe. It's so fine. It's not dangerous to me at all. And with regard to signature, sure, but the lethality of the weapon system itself does not diminish with the silencer. In fact, lethality typically increases with the silencer. Why is that? The element of surprise, you can't locate the shot. You don't know where it's coming from. Next thing you know, you're at your farm or at your ranch or your backyard and you're playing around because you think this is a dang BB gun. Next thing you know, you're setting a 22 projectile down range and you don't know what's down range and you hit something or someone, and then then you're in a pickle. Then you're in a whole pickle, and depending on where you are, you just don't know. So just remember, basic rules of firearm safety apply. Again, I'm not your dad, but he would want you to obey the rules. So you're safe, and everyone else is safe as well. Okay, so we're gonna go through the data. We're gonna hit the high points, and we'll talk a little bit about things. Okay, let's see. You have some peak metrics you can look at if you like. Just scroll down here. Scroll down. You can look at table 1 if you want. Cliff notes, it's quiet. The real magic's when you get down to figure 1, though. Let's go down there. Figure 1A, figure 1B, per typical. Oh, my God. Did I mislabel them? Oh, my gosh. Guys, I made a typo. No one caught it. Huh. Well, you know what, guys? I'm not correcting that now, but I'll just use the real figure numbers. They're not supposed to be that's on me. And man, proofreader didn't catch it. I didn't catch it. Consumers didn't catch it. There's a problem. So figure 2A and figure 2B, the pressure traces, guys. Per typical, you have free field. You have free field in figure 2A. Okay, so that's the entire history. Okay. And then in figure 2B, I zoomed in on a spot that I thought was cool to look at. All right. Now, the really great thing to pay attention to here is how the precursor flow is visible. Really cool. Because remember, guys, what are we doing? We're pushing air out of the barrel without creating a shock, right? So some people think that blast loads are all shock loads, right? But they're wrong. They are wrong. The molecules are still communicating in front of the bullet. The bullet speed is subsonic in air. So it's pushing that air such that it's filling that silencer and there's a leading wave exiting. And when you get that main pressure pulse, it's not a shock. No. It's a pressure wave with a finite rise time. That's right. And you can see that right before 30 milliseconds in the figure there. Isn't that cool? The air is literally being pushed into a pressure wave. There is no shock. There's no sonic crack. No. And later in time, you see the gas phase of the load. You do. And then you see it decay, and then all is quiet again, and nothing's happening. No reflections, just nothing. Just in the free field. It's quiet again. Okay, that's what you're seeing. That's what you're seeing there. So this is one of the most boring things to look at, really. If you are a 22 silencer user with a bolt action, you can actually picture in your mind how boring it is to shoot. Because you can picture that after you stop laughing because the novelty of how quiet it is wears off, right? But just like with subsonic 300 blackout, with subsonic 22, if you use a long enough barrel, a lot of silencers are going to be giggle quiet. And when you look at the impulse accumulation down there in figure 3 there, figure 3A, 3 and 3B, you can see that there's a spike of momentum accumulation from that primary pressure wave, and then you see the gradual accumulation of the gas phase in the shots. Okay, that's what you're seeing. So you keep those basic physics in mind as you think about 22, and we do testing on semi-auto 22 with a shorter barrel, and those tests can be a lot more interesting because they can make the silencer work a lot harder, and back pressure comes into play there too. And so, as you can imagine, so that happens, but we're not really showing a lot of that yet. So you'll have to wait and see. But because I don't want don't think just because 16-inch barrel 22 is easy that every manufacturer has it licked. Okay, because I don't want you to think that, because it's not true. It's simply not the case. And I can tell you, though, that the Jessie's girl is doing pretty well. And also, it's doing pretty well at the shooter's ear. And it's neck and neck with the rugged Oculus at the muzzle, And it's maybe just a couple points shy at the ear. But in these tests, these specific tests, the actual firing pin drop, the sound of the weapon, is really important. And that is actually not the only thing driving the shooter's ear suppression rating, obviously, right? Because we record the entire free field signature, as we've always done. We record the whole thing. And so the muzzle suppression will matter, and we have testing to show that. And so stay tuned. Excuse me. Okay. So if you scroll down further, you get to the member section, and this is a pretty short article, on 22 here. It's not too hard to read. If you scroll down and the member, because I'm looking at the member review, the members will see the shooter's ear waveforms, and those are really good to look at because they show you exactly what I just said, but with physics. And physics is good because it's real and objective, and you see it. Now, we don't have a lot of comparison points publicly yet. Hold on, excuse me. We don't have a lot of comparison points publicly yet, but I can tell you, not all 22 silencers are created equal on a bolt gun, and definitely not on a pistol. And there are levels to the game. So on the rifle, so far here, you have 3 data points in the chart. And that's in figure, I'm scroll down further, figure 6. It's a really simple figure this time. You have the Oculus long and short configurations, okay? And you have the Jessie's Girl there as well. The Rugged Oculus, you should know, is a very good silencer for low pressure 22. It's a very good signature there. When you shorten it to its short configuration, it still performs pretty dang well on a 22 bolt action, and that is reflected in the suppression rating, isn't it? That's right. And I mean, heck, half a category louder at the shooter's ear. You know, it gets half a category louder at the shooter's ear than the long configuration. That's not too shabby. Now, can you tell it's louder? You can. You should be able to, yes. The suppression rating tells you that, and it reflects reality. Okay, it reflects reality. Now, the Oculus is one of the most tested silencers by our lab. If you listen to the previous episode, you know it is the OG. All of, I want to say, yeah, all of my personal Form 4 silencers were used in the inception of this effort. No matter what people say, they're super mad at me or whatever. They're super mad at Pew Science. The reality, guys, the reality is that all the data analysis was started because I needed better information, and now we have it. So all of the early work, it was done when the industry was they were laughing at us. Really, I mean, it's, and I guess no one's laughing anymore because now you see this, it's still holding up, it's still working, and so. When you look at figure 6, you see the Jessie's Girl, and it's neck and neck, basically the same at the muzzle as the Oculus for all intents and purposes. The signature's different, and we're gonna have to show that in a member research supplement later. But one thing you see here is you see a couple of points of divergence at the shooter's ear. It's small, it's there, okay. One thing about the Resilient silencer. And frankly, a lot of silencers coming out of their shop, their baffle designs tend to show some promise with higher pressures. I think for the Jessie's Girl to hit what it's hitting on this weapon is pretty good for the design, and it's one of the reasons I imagine they wanted this data published. Now, we've done pistol testing too. You're going to need to stay tuned for that. It's just a little different. I want to talk a little bit more about the design of the silencer. It doesn't have particularly special features for back pressure reduction, which that is one thing that Resilient is known for on their subgun stuff, on their 9mm stuff, right? Doing it for a 22 silencer is a little tricky. You'll have to stay tuned for some wild stuff in that department. We have seen some things from others that it's just it's crazy. I think with regard to the Jessie's Girl design overall, it's using pretty conventional step cones with opposing notches. One of the and I like how they interlock. I like that. They're numbered too, which I appreciate. That's just good job. I like that. One of the unique things about the silencer that I kind of like is the end cap. For a couple of reasons. Well, one, it has a pretty deep flange with external flash hider features that helps with 5.7 stuff. Probably, I'm imagining that. I haven't experienced the flash reduction, but I don't know. Maybe they can tell you about that if you ask them. You can actually what I did. I can unscrew it by hand and tighten it by hand. You can also use a socket, probably like a 12 point to open it, which is nice to do. That's nice if you need to, but you don't. You might be able to do it by hand. It depends how tight you do it, on what you're doing with the silencer. I'll leave that to you guys. It is, and that kind of brings me to a point here. It is, like I said before, full auto rated, quote unquote, for 5.7. And it's not too heavy, and it's only 6 ounces. So that's interesting. Because there are lighter 22 cans. There are heavier 22 cans. These baffles are steel, and the tube is titanium, and the end cap's aluminum. So that's really how they're cutting weight. They're cutting weight from the tube and the cap. Okay, the mount's steel. The thing that screws on the gun, that's kind of like, it's probably like Loctited or bonded in there, so you can't take it out, I would assume. It looks like it has notches that you would be able to remove it with like some kind of tool. I don't know. I would talk with the manufacturer. I would probably not try to remove that mount. Having a steel mount can be good for durability, taking it on and off your barrels, things like that. That's just something, people have done for a minute. I guess where I'm going with this is you have steel in most of the things you want. You like the mount and the baffles, right? And that's really what I think they were looking for as far as durability here. Because remember, guys, you can make things out of lighter materials and you can still make them durable. But in order to do that, you really have to manage the blast loads in certain ways. It's just really all about the design. So for this design, for what I see, they did it in a certain way for a reason. Just because something is titanium, just because something is steel, doesn't mean it's better than the other. It's all about the design and what we call engineering. How you take the different components and make them work together to form a solution. Okay, it's not always black and white. Okay, so overall, I would say this is a relatively light package for what they say it does, I think. Now, at least for this type of conventional design, I would call this a very conventional 22 can in its design. Okay. There are not a lot of unconventional 22 cans, just so we're clear. You'll see some, but there's not a lot. Now, we haven't talked cleaning in a while on this podcast. We should probably talk about that now, since this is a 22 silencer. The reason we clean silencers is vaporized lead and carbon deposits. They fill the silencer, and it will reduce performance. It will. And this occurs on every silencer you own, every single one. If someone says you do not need to clean a silencer, they are probably wrong. The only silencers you don't need to clean are the ones that collect very little buildup because of their design, or because they don't get shot enough, or really both of those things, right? Right. But for 22 silencers, almost all of them need to be cleaned regularly, right? Because 22 is cheap to shoot, so that means you're going to shoot a lot of it, and then the lead vaporizes pretty easily. It gets everywhere. This one has steel baffles. Remember, so you can actually take those out, throw them in an ultrasonic, or brush them, use chemicals, whatever. Now, I will say this, and I know a lot of you know this, but there's a lot of new silencer folks. Be careful not to use cleaning chemicals that will eat your thing you're cleaning. Like if you put these baffles in something, make sure what you're putting the baffles in doesn't eat stainless steel. And yes, there are things that eat stainless steel. Some chemicals will eat stainless. Some will eat titanium. Some will eat aluminum. Just be smart. Wear your PPE if needed, your personal protective equipment if you need to. And that's to protect you against various hazards like lead and other things. Just be careful, okay? But have fun, because this is all about having fun. So that's it for now. Really, that's all I got on this one, guys. I know it's 22 bolt action. Okay, it's really cool. I mean, it's a good silencer for it. This is Jessie's girl. It's boring test, but at least this thing's really close to the rugged Oculus in sound on a bolt gun, and I think that's I don't know, guys. A ton of people have Oculus. A ton of people have an Oculus, and they know what it sounds like. So this should be a very valuable data set for you. I mean, guys, like the rugged Oculus is prolific, dude. I mean, I've had one forever. It's awesome. So I will say this should be a really great data point. It's very accurate. Okay, this is a very accurate data point, and your use will agree with what you see. Your experience will agree. I promise. So you're gonna have to stay tuned for pistol data, right? That's gonna be weird. And like I said last episode, if you remember, we are going to have to republish a new Oculus pistol article because we went ahead and we retested it with CCI standard velocity to be fair to it, because we can't release any new pistol articles with a standardized ammo until we go back and we retest the Oculus. It wasn't going to be fair to the Oculus. It wasn't going to be fair to Rugged. So we retested with CCI standard velocity to keep it going. Okay, you can go back into that history in last episode if you like. Okay. So yeah, so stay tuned for that first. And so I will summarize this topic and say thank you again to Resilient Suppressors. It is not easy being the first manufacturer to volunteer to have one of their tests published. Really forging ahead in the data set, that's really something. And they took a risk. So I think they get some big kudos from not only Pew Science, but I think from all the members, corporate and consumer, and the world at large. I think it's a really big deal. I really can't say that enough. So thanks, guys. I think that's important. I don't know. I want to keep saying thank you. So I hope that's not lost on people that not only me, but many people appreciate the effort that they put forth to make that happen. That was definitely a team effort with Resilient and Pew Science to get that done. And we're really happy we could get it done. And it would not have happened without them doing it. So that's, I don't know, if you see them, buy them a beer or something. All right. Topic 2, time of 36 minutes and 52 seconds. Okay, topic 2. And now this is shifting gears. Sound Signature Review 6126. This is brand new. The Liberty Precision Machine Torch on the 5.56 Mark 18. 2 testing that dang thing with a solid end cap, the vented end cap. The white paper's live right now. It's a surprise, isn't it? It should be a surprise to many people, both that it even happened and the performance, I think. So let's go into this. This is really something completely different from our last topic, right? The projectiles might be close to the same diameter, but the combustion, my friends, so different. You know, we couldn't stay away from 5.56 for long. Just when you thought we're getting away from 5.56, it brings us back. It's like those, I've been watching a lot of Halloween movies, with my family. We're like watching the movies, and it's like one of those like the kid gets out of bed and the monster grabs him from under the bed, grabs him by his ankles and pulls him back out. Yeah, you can't escape. The 5.56 will just do that to you. And I'm telling you what, if I thought when we started this effort 5.56 was going to be this popular, man, everyone and their mom loves 5.56 silencers. I tell you what, and frankly, I will say this. I think that's pretty awesome because 5.56 is loud and silencers make it way, 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 way better to shoot. Okay, and that's a fact, Jack. Like, that's a fact. All of those silencer newbies who say things like, 5.56 is supersonic anyway, why are we using a silencer? Nah, dude, those guys need some education. They're like completely forgetting about muzzle blast, which is crazy, right? It's like the primary driver of the signature is muzzle blast. It's not the sonic crack. Relax. Okay. They're like, well, the sonic crack's whatever dB. I'm like, no. You're not getting the totality of the signature, guys. That's that single peak nonsense. You're in like La La Land. Okay. So I see you folks out there helping them. Like educating folks. I see that. And that's a really good thing to do. Keep doing that, man. Keep spreading the good word. Keep educating and helping people. on that, 5.56 silencers can really reduce hazard. That's important, okay? It reduces hazard to the operator, to the bystanders, everybody. So the torch now. One second. The torch, it's another silencer that we had a lot come through here. And this is another one that came across my desk, and they approached me for testing, and we've had it for a while. We tested it recently, and it is relatively unique. It's a relatively unique silencer on the market, and that's not necessarily because of kind of the radical design or the technology inside it. That's not necessarily why it's unique. It's really, in my opinion, because of the way the designer chose to implement some simple changes to conventional silencer design, and really, I would say, really, I think applied what, in my opinion and my observation, they have learned since this Pew Science effort started. To be frank with you, I will say that we, of course, do not take credit for any silencer designs, but it is clear that there are certain technologies that have come about because of greater physical understanding of phenomenology, and that's what we talk about here on the podcast. So I think we're putting two and two together, and it's pretty good. So you look on this thing here. It's live today. The article is available on the website. We are not going to go into the technical discussion until next week, but suffice to say, if you like how the RC2 performs in the Mark 18, in fact, let me pull up my. I'm not done writing yet, all the way, actually, because I'm just not. Okay, there's a lot going on. I'm not done, but I'm almost done. It's gonna be a late night for me. I will say, let me pull up a chart. Man, it's a big article because there's 2 end caps. It takes forever to scroll. Oh yeah, right there, baby. Yeah, if you like how the RC2 performs in the Mark 18, but you wish you had the option to turn your RC2 into an HXQD556 from OSS, the torch might be for you. No, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just saying that this silencer is really not that complicated, but it applies some really smart design changes up front and in the back that really do what I think the silencer's designer set out to do. I really do think that, and you will find that you can change the performance of the silencer on a Mark 18 by changing the end cap. And it comes with both. And if you are a mag dump wizard and like rapid fire, this is one of those silencers that I think is going to serve you well, probably. There are some things that help with potential durability too, just in the design. It's kind of neat. I think we're going to get into that on the next episode. Okay, now, let me close. I don't want to. Now, we have only tested this on the Mark 18. Okay, so that's full disclosure. I want you guys to keep in mind that as we progress through the coming months, there are other animals. Okay, now nonetheless, Liberty Precision Machine did come out swinging here. They did. They are relatively new to the market, and I have to say, one of the things I always notice coming out of their shop is very thoughtful designs. They really put some thought into everything they do, and they aren't just blowing and going. There is theory applied. There's testing done by them practically, and it does show through in their product performance. I'm proud to call them a client of this lab. I'm honored that they continue to trust us to perform evaluations like this. I really want to say that. Okay, so please check out the data, see what you think. I think it's a pretty neat silencer. There's a lot of data in this article, guys. Okay, keeping that in mind, there's two There's 2 freaking end caps. So there's 2 tests. There's 2 tests in that article. It's one of those just long things. Okay, it's a lot of information. We're going to be back next week to talk technically about it. I am interested to see what people think about it. Now, I'm going to say this. Oh, man. I want to say what I see in this silencer, it makes me smile ear to ear. It really does make me smile. And I'm going to say something. And I don't want to come across as patronizing, or I do realize that I can say things sometimes that they can seem abrasive or proud or rude or conceited. I want you to know that I have enough self-awareness to understand that I can sound like that despite intentions. But okay, fine. What I want to say right now, I say with sincerity, and I want to say I am proud of Liberty Precision Machine and how I have seen them progress in their designs. And I think it's cool. And I think someone who can take lessons learned from their own development and a third-party effort and then execute an idea and come up with something like this silencer, this I'm holding in my hand, this torch. I think that's a testament to raw American ingenuity. And I think it should be applauded. And again, I am not trying to get you to buy a silencer from them. Okay, I am not. This is just me bragging on a Pew Science client and what seems to me to be a young man that's set on a straight path to success because of hard work and intelligence and good intentions. Okay, and so that's all I'm going to say about that for now. It's just something I feel I had to say. So good job, Riley. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit of foreshadowing for way in the future. For now, guys, and it is worth talking about now. I trust me. What happens when you can achieve OSS or Huxworks balanced signatures on an AR, but you do it differently than Huxworks does it? Can you make the operators safer in certain environments? Okay, that is a really good food for thought going forward. Okay, and I think there are a lot of high flow and low back pressure technologies available nowadays. I think eventually you're going to see what that actually means. I think the torch, this is the timing of this, guys, it could not be better for what's about to happen with Pew Science. The torch is almost like a bridge to show you what's going on, and it's just such a great example of advancement. Even though it's not like this isn't like crazy supercomputer stuff, guys. This is like basic principles used by a designer to do what they wanted to do. And this is a combination silencer that does things in a certain way. Just read the article and understand. And you'll see other stuff too. And this is just what a great step in the pedigree. I'm so honored we were able to test this. And I'm telling you, everything happens for a reason. How serendipitous that this happens right now, and what you're going to see after this. Oh my God, just everyone buckle up. It's just going to get rowdy. It's going to get so rowdy, and it's going to be one of those things when when the dust settles and everyone like kind of looks at each other and like, oh my God, we are having a wild time right now. And it's mid-October. This is going to be great, dude. By the time December rolls around, people are just going to be like, like when you see those movies and like the battlefield's crazy and like one guy's holding his arm, or like, it's like Saving Private Ryan. Topic 3, time of 48 minutes and 52 seconds. I got violent. And hey, that's a good segue though, right? Patience is important. For you, for me, for us, for everyone. If you are a veteran of this so-called NFA game, patience may still not come naturally to you, and that's okay. You're going to learn it if you haven't already. We're anxious to continue, so keep your eye on the prize. And thanks to the dealers making this happen, sending us stuff too. I want to say something for everybody, and I know this can frustrate some of you. I know we've been publishing a lot of client-funded work. Okay, no question. I just want to say I'm honored that the lab has gotten to the position it is in right now to be busy with external clients. All those clients, they want independent third-party evaluation, and that's amazing. It's awesome to see the effort grow. That they want evaluation from people outside the silencer industry, right? They don't want their competitors evaluating their stuff. They want an external lab, level playing field evaluated, and that's what we do. Okay, that's the service we provide. It's really awesome to see that effort grow, that demand grow, and no matter what anyone externally says about it, it really is having a successful test laboratory is one of the coolest things ever, dude. It's cool. So we have also been giving member exclusive data to you folks here and there, and in every article we do that too. Remember, in every article we give member exclusive data too, as always. But there are more member-funded reviews coming, entire reviews, and those need to be published, and I am very excited to do that. There are some things that folks have been clamoring for. We see it. There are actually member dealers out there who do a hell of a job of keeping tabs on what consumers in the state of practice need to see. And I just want to give a preemptive shout out right now to some of those dealers. They're going to remain nameless right now. They have gone out of their way to provide silencers for evaluation to Pew Science from several silencers. Some of those silencers are super important to the state of practice. Some are highly topical right now. Some are just things that, frankly, I think people need to see. So I know it's hard waiting for things. I know it's frustrating when silencers you don't want to see aren't quite yet shown in ways you want to see them yet. I get it. But I just want to offer, I guess, the following solace to you. I feel you. Okay, I do. If I had my way, this would go faster. But until I have my way, this is where we are. And the pace is extremely fast. We run at a pace faster than any other laboratory in the world. With the number and quality of our deliverables, I can say that with 100% confidence. So I think it's pretty good, but I do understand that faster would be better. So I think we can agree on those 2 points. Okay. I wanted to address that. So thank you, everyone. This year will be worth it. I promise. It's going to be a fun ride. Please stay tuned. In fact, so right now, okay, so what are you going to do? You're going to go check out today's data, Liberty Precision Machine Torch, right? You're going to wet your whistle, as they said. You're going to look at that, let it be your appetizer. We're going to talk about it next week, technically, but even in between. But in between this day, this data, and then us talking, you're going to see even more stuff. So stay tuned. And then you're going to see even more. I mean, we're ramping things up. So by the time you listen to this, you'll see the torch. And then not too much later, you're going to see something else. And then not too much later, you're going to see something else. And then not too much later, you're going to see something else. It's going to keep on trucking, homie. I pray for myself, my organization, and my family. I ask you to do the same. We are underwater, but it's going to be a great time, okay? Be safe out there. Have fun. And I will talk with you folks again soon. All right, bye.